Introduce to you best-selling author Krystalore.
Hello, happy Monday, everyone. Thank you so much, Rachel. Oh my gosh, the power of writing things down. I wrote down, and I said it last week when I had Marcus up here talking about my book, The Road to Resilience. We put it out there. She's going to be a bestseller, an Amazon bestseller. I wrote it down in my journal every single day that I was writing this book. And of course, it happened. I'm not surprised because when we are so mindful in where we're going and we write it down, we tell other people, we get in community, we ask for help, we get coached, we get mentored, we get around other people like Rachel, like Matt GPT, like Breakfast with Champions in Clubhouse and the Health is Wealth community. It's amazing. You never know what could happen. So happy Monday. Welcome to Breakfast with Champions. For those of you who are here over on Clubhouse, make sure you share the room, please. Let's reset here. Let's share the room. Let's get some more people in here because I just got back from Paradise in the Dominican Republic at 1 a.m. And I had some questions while I was away. And I got some questions this morning with regards to how my trip was and, all of my adventures. And so I want to unpack some of it here for you here today and hopefully enlighten you and inspire you to maybe take some action and maybe be a little bit more mindful and present in your day-to-day operations. And as you write down your big, audacious, bodacious goals and you have your vision board and you get in community, and you share the amazing things that you want to accomplish, that you actually embed a mindfulness and a celebration practice. And if you need support with this, I have an amazing course that starts next week on September 12th. Is that next week? I don't even know what day it is. Yeah, it's next week already. So next Tuesday, it's going to be my 5-day bombshell boot camp. All right. So it's a bombshell confidence boot camp where no, it's not workouts every day. There's only one 30-minute workout and it's on day 3. So please come join us. I click the link above. If you're over on Clubhouse, if you're over on Facebook, I'll make sure that my team gets you the link. Or if you're on any of the other platforms where I'm at, I think I'm over on LinkedIn, on YouTube, I'm everywhere. So hopefully you're everywhere as well. So if you are just starting a business or you're aspiring to go after your dreams and goals and get your message out there, you're robbing people of the people that need to hear you. If you're not showing up regularly, if you're not sharing your message, if you're not putting yourself out there, no matter what. Hey, Annette. Oh my gosh. Okay. So Annette is on my team. She's incredible. She's also a military spouse and a fellow entrepreneur. So if you're ever in Puerto Rico area, she hosts luxury beach picnics. So right on the beach in Puerto Rico. So if you're ever in that area, definitely send me a message. I'll get you connected with her. She's incredible. So anyways, today's message. So make sure you're sharing the link, sharing this room, and bring some people in here because today's message is going to be from paradise to present. So being present in your day, being present in your dreams, being present in your daily practice, I think is really, really difficult because as many of us, especially as entrepreneurs, we tend to we feel like we have to do so many things and we have to fill our day. And then when it comes to vacation, it's sometimes it's hard to unwind, right? And so what I wanted to share was I actually planned to not only launch a best-selling author as a best-selling author on my 40th birthday, which was just a week ago, but I literally wrote this book. I wanted to implement a celebration into the goal setting, into my milestones, so that I can stop and pause and reflect and be present in the moment of this book, of this. It was like birthing a baby, right? So like it was a lot. And for any shout out to anybody that's ever written a book or put their wildest, their closest, dreams and their stories out to the world. It's a vulnerable space. And so your nervous system goes through a lot. There's a lot of emotions that go through it. And so I wanted to make sure that I was present in the moments. So I designed a trip after this launch, right? And so everyone's like, "Oh, I hope you did more, more rest and adventures than you did work." Because typically when I travel, I don't really vacation anymore. I travel because I'm a remote entrepreneur. I'm a serial entrepreneur, and I'm always working, quote unquote, working. And so this trip was very special and very unique, where I didn't book anything. I taught my clients. I taught, I was here on Clubhouse last Monday, from my hotel room, but I blocked off every other part of the day, other than the workouts that I had to do and the ones that I had to teach. I blocked it off. And so it's interesting that I literally, I was answering messages today and I was like, I've never done so much nothing in my entire life. And it was so beautiful. And I just want to share this for anybody that's ever really gone on vacation and have a hard time unwinding and unpacking and just being present in the moments, having that mindful reflection. So, tip number one, I want you to really have some mindful reflection in your day. So maybe it's a relaxation practice. Maybe it's yoga. Maybe it's meditation. Maybe it's journaling. Maybe it's goal setting. So being mindful in your daily practice, or embed a home away from home, right? Or you can take a trip somewhere, or maybe you go to a park. But I think this mindful reflection and just doing nothing and being present in your thoughts and being present in the moment to be able to celebrate all of the accomplishments, like really stop and pause. And maybe let's do that here right now. When was the last time you actually sat down and wrote down your accomplishments? Maybe in the last week or in the last month. In my 5-day bombshell boot camp, we go through some goal setting and we go through confidence and your consistent daily habits that are going to fuel you forward, right? And so we remind ourselves of the things the gifts that we have and the accomplishments that we've been able to achieve, that we've worked so hard for. But if we don't stop and pause and consider, like, wow, we actually did that. Like, sit mindful, like right now. Maybe if you have a notepad nearby, I want you to jot down the first 3 things that come to mind. What are the first 3 things that you accomplished this year? Just this year alone. Maybe it was on your vision board. Maybe it was a goal of yours. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it came out of nowhere. Maybe it was an opportunity. So I want you to have some mindful reflections. Write down or jot in the comments. What are 3 things that you were able to accomplish this year? I want you to sink them into your present, into your being, into your nervous system. And I want you to sit with it. I think it's so important. And it's uncomfortable because this celebration thing can be very, very uncomfortable, especially all of us that want to do so much for everyone else. So be mindful in this reflection, daily reflection. And if you need support with this, please send me a message. I'd be happy to help you. My first book was a crystal clear life planner. It's a 90-day action plan to embrace chaos and live a fulfilling life. And I'll tell you, there were many years, for those of you who don't know my story, I've run 26 marathons in a 50-mile race. There were so many years that I just kept going and going and running. And I go through this in my book, The Road to Resilience, that I just published last week. So there were many years that I just kept going and running and escaping and trying to achieve more and prove more and do more. And then I burned out. And it was at the end of the year where I just skipped over all the celebration. I skipped over all the mindful presence and the reflection. I wasn't writing things down. I wasn't celebrating. I just never felt like I was doing enough. And maybe you're feeling like that right now, where you just never feel like you're doing enough. And you just keep going and exhausting yourself without stopping and being present and just saying, you know what? I've done a lot. Now, that's not where, yes, we want to be mindful, we want to be present, we want to celebrate, but then we got to get back up and go again, right? So figure out a system that works for you, right? So this last week was, I had so much power in the pause of the launch, my book, my birthday, the reflection, the celebration, the mindfulness. I was so present in last week, all the way up until the flight on the way home at 1 o'clock this morning. So I'm wearing my Miami shirt today. It was a little chilly here. It's a lot chillier here than it was in Dominican Republic. But anyways, I was flying in from Miami to back to Louisville late night. It was a late night flight. So we left Dominican at 4 o'clock. And I'm telling you this because I want you to be present even on airplanes, even in when you're on the sidewalk. I want you to be present in elevators. We talk about elevator speeches. I tell you, I travel a lot. My bags are always packed. And last night I met an amazing woman. Her name is Shannon. Shout out to Shannon. She's a fellow entrepreneur. She lives here locally in Louisville. She was wearing this bright orange shirt, and I saw her in Punta Cana when we had to check our bags, and then we were in Miami and we had to recheck and then come home. And I saw her, and she was wearing this big, beautiful hat, and she just had this energy to her. She ended up sitting right next to me on this last flight home. And I was exhausted, right? I had been, we had so much fun and relaxation. I'm energized, but I was tired, right? And I love to sleep on planes, but lately I've been meeting some incredible people on airplanes. And she sat next to me, and I had my phone plugged in because it was dying, and my husband had his plugged in next to me. So the first question I asked her, I said, "Hey, do you need to plug your phone in?" She's like, "No, I'm good." And we got to just chatting, and it turned into an almost 2-hour conversation about her life and this next chapter of her life in entrepreneurship, in her business, and how we're going to collaborate. And it was just so incredible. And I can't wait. We're going to have coffee next week, and we're going to continue this relationship. And it was so amazing because I could have been on my phone. I could have put my earplugs in. I could have just gone to sleep and pretended like I wasn't paying attention to anybody else. But I was present in those moments, and we just celebrated, and we reflected together. And it was just so amazing. So have the mindful reflection, sit in the moments, be in the pause, find the power in the pause. And Shannon shared with me some of her life stories that she's been growing through. And, I was able to help and be there for her and support her. And she's in this powerful pause in her life where, really just sitting in those last couple hours last night, in those late hours on that flight, just being present in those moments and reflecting on all the things that even the week that I was there, she got there like halfway through the week. She was there for a wedding, and just reflecting on the moment that she, like, everything that led up to it. When we sit back and we reflect and we pick up the pieces of the dots, all the dots and all the evidence, I'll tell you, if we're not paying attention, we're going to miss the opportunities. We're going to miss the breadcrumbs that we need to be picking up. We're going to miss the angelic movements of the people that are placed in your life for a reason, or maybe they're placed in your life for a season, for you to learn and grow through something. But if you're skipping over it and you're not mindful and you're not being present in the moments, you're going to miss it. And then life's going to pass you by, and you'll be like, "Oh, wait a minute. I should have paid attention sooner." And I've been having to do this a lot lately. And it wasn't until I started writing things down in my Crystal Clear Life Planner that I started to recognize how powerful this was. Every single day I close out each day. How intentional was I? Who did I make smile today? What were my wins? What was I able to accomplish today? And what can I do differently tomorrow? How was my nutrition? How was my hydration? How was my movement? How did I do today? And would I fire myself today? Do we need to make some small tweaks to be better tomorrow? Just stronger than yesterday? That's it. One day at a time, right? Instead of being in this negative mindset of like, oh, we're not doing enough. We need to do more. We need to do all this. And we're not good enough. We're not far enough along. We don't have enough followers, right? There's so many things. There's ways that we can judge ourselves. And we do a good enough job at that. We tend to judge ourselves so much and sabotage ourselves. So why not be present in the positive reflections, but also in the honest reflections, right? It's in the honest reflection and in this power of this pause where you're present in your thoughts and your heart and your mind, and where like the honesty, that's where the growth happens. So if you skip over that part and you just escape, like we went to an all-inclusive resort. It was an amazing resort. Like we spent a lot of time on the beach reflecting, but if we just spent the whole time just like escaping and skipping over the reflection part and maybe drinking too much or spending all day at the swim up bar, or not moving our body, not eating intentionally, and just sabotaging just so that we need another vacation when we return from the trip, like I've done that. And it's not fun. Now, sitting in the present moment and in the reflection, that sometimes isn't fun either. But being honest and being able to be there for the growth and be open for the opportunities and take a look at the small nuggets of evidence that are right there, right in front of you, these lessons. So relax, have your adventures, have your fun, connect, find ways to connect with other people and reflect. Keep your head up. I can't tell you how many times, and I know I've shared this before, I'm a runner, right? And so I'm always like, good morning. Yes, I have my phone on me, but I'm listening to either a podcast, maybe one of my podcast interviews, just kind of replaying some of the things so that I can reflect and get better as a speaker. And so it might be one of my podcasts, it might be some of my mentors, it might be an audiobook. But I always find time to put my head up and say good morning to the people that are in my sight, right? And I can't tell you how many people. I will tell you, it's probably 90. I'm going to do a whole study on this because it's actually kind of frustrating how many people have their head down. They keep their head down and they're not even mindful that there's other human beings around. Their face is in their phone or they're looking down. And I know when they're looking down and they're running, they're doubting themselves. They're in their own head, right? So are you in your own head? Do you have your head down? Are you dialed in and have your head down and putting your pedal to the metal? Or are you being open so you can take a look at the opportunities that are out there for you? You never know who you're going to meet. If you have your head out of your phone and be open, just put it away. You never know. So connect with someone else. Say hi. Okay. So that's number one. I'm like so emotional about this. I'm so passionate about this because I have found so much evidence. And there were so many years that I just skipped over these moments and I missed out. And I don't want you to miss out. So keep your head up. Make someone smile today. Yes. Thank you, Annette. Yes, celebrating used to be uncomfortable. So celebration is part of the 5-day Bombshell Bootcamp. It's a confidence bootcamp where I go through my courageous confidence model, right? So we have 5 steps. So in The Road to Resilience, the book that I launched last week, that dives in even more into these 5 steps. But next week, I really want to just dive in with you. So click the link above. Join us next week for the Bombshell Bootcamp. It's amazing because we're going to help you implement some of this mindfulness, some of these habits and these rituals. So that brings me to tip number 2. What are your rituals? What are your daily rituals? And I'll tell you, I work with so many people that they're like, well, I need to fix my morning routine and I need to get up earlier. I need to work out more. I know I need to do more. But a lot of times I ask, like, well, what's your evening routine like? And how are you setting yourself up for success the next day? And so I want you to think about, what is your mindful ritual each day? And how do you close out each night? I already told you about the Crystal Clear Life Planner. You can start each day with 2 minutes of goal setting, gratitude, intentions, mapping out your day so that you get the proper movement. And I highly recommend you could do this the night before and say, okay, how can I make tomorrow great? And what can I do right now to set out my clothes, to plan for the celebration, to plan for the mindful reflection, to plan that getaway, to be able to commit to the things that are going to move the needle to move you forward. So it takes action. I'm sorry I'm not going to apologize. You have to take action. You can't just wish your way into something. You can't just you can't say you want to write a book or be a best-selling author and just sit there and stare at a blank screen or stare at Netflix and let it just pour onto the page. It's not going to happen. You have to take action. All right. So, and it's messy. It can be messy. And in my book, I talk about the messy middle. A lot of things that people don't talk about. The messy middle, right? It starts messy. So having these rituals to be able to make sure that you are working at your optimum performance, so you're fueling your body properly, you're getting to bed on time, you are setting yourself up for success the next day. These rituals are so important because when life gets thrown at you, because it will, every time we level up, every single time, raise your hand, I don't know, share if you've ever gotten through something really hard and achieved something without an obstacle. I think you need to write a book on that because nothing good comes from our comfort zone. The taste of the success and the accomplishment is from the endurance of the race. It's from the endurance of the challenge that just came up just before you were about to level up, just before. That way we're tested to say, how bad do you really want it? And so this is where your daily rituals have to be ingrained in your being so that you're almost on an autopilot. So we must train our bodies and our brains and our nervous system to say, you know what? Here are my non-negotiables. Here's my default setting so that when life gets thrown at us, we're ready. We're unstoppable. We're unshakable. And our emotions don't take over. And we don't respond in negative ways where we get derailed for days or even months at a time. And I'll tell you, I've been in the fetal position for way too long. I counted 18 months of my life, 18 months where I did not live life. I was not living. I was in survival mode. I was in despair. I was in depression. I was in a negative headspace, and I was not living. 18 months wiped off the face of the earth. I don't want that for you. I don't want that for anyone. So I am on a mission to help empower everyone, put themselves and their health first for at least 34 minutes a day so you can reduce the stress and overwhelm of life and live a more fulfilling life. And so, how do we do that? By implementing our daily mindful rituals. So being mindful with yourself and your health and being present in your day, celebrating, reflecting, planning, committing to daily action, consistent action. And if you don't know what that looks like, please join us next week. If you're in survival mode, I want to get you to thrival mode. And also I host 6-day all-inclusive retreats. I do wellness retreats as well. So we unpeel more layers to be able to help fuel you forward. It's called the Revive and Thrive Retreat. So I have my next one coming up in a couple weeks in Costa Rica. And we live together. We spend 6 days. It's an intensive, immersive experience. And I love to do this work. So I'll be launching 2024 dates coming up soon. So stay tuned. If you need this in your life and this message resonates with you and you just need someone to ignite your fire, please send me a message. Do not wait until it's too late. Do not wait for an injury. Do not wait for an illness to start waking up. Don't wait anymore. If you have a book inside you, if you have a business inside you, if you have a speech inside of you, if you have a TEDx, make sure you shout out what your goals are, what you want to go after. The study shows that the brain keeps track of the times that you show up for yourself. So every time you shout it out, you put it out to the world, you put it in a text message, you shout out to Ramon, you shout out here in Clubhouse, you shout out on Facebook, you do something, you take action, even if it's www.google.com, hashtag not an ad. But like, just taking action. It can be just as simple as like, how am I going to do this? Maybe you reach out to Matt GPT, get some more marketing ideas, find ways to use GPT in your world, right? Find ways to be more efficient with your life. Find people that can help you, but you need to have some daily rituals. I highly, highly recommend it because you need to have a default setting. So many people were like, Crystal, you're working out every day and you're eating healthy on your vacation. Yes, because that's my default setting. I'm mindful. We woke up every single day. I worked out every morning. Now I contracted, it was kind of a working teaching vacation. So I contracted with this amazing company that hires fitness instructors. And so I was contracted with the Dreams Resort to be able to be their resident boot camp instructor every day. So I taught on the beach to amazing people all over the world. And I was able to pour into these people and help them be happier and healthier. And so many people were like, I never planned on working out on this trip. I didn't even bring clothes. There were people that worked out in their bathing suits, in jean shorts, no shoes, no equipment. And I came to get them at their chair, at their beach chair. And they're like, you could sell a ketchup popsicle to a woman in white. Like, I can't say no to you because your energy and your passion is beyond reproach. Like, I can't say no to you. Of course, I'm going to keep moving. And they had so much fun. They're like, I didn't know I don't actually typically work out on vacation or on holiday. There's a lot of Europeans. They're like, I'm on holiday. Some of them are like, I'm on holiday. I'm not working out. And I'm like, okay, you do you. But we're going to be over here and the music's going to be loud and you're going to have FOMO and wish you were over there in my workouts because we make fitness fun again. And so it changed the game for so many people. But because that's my default setting, that's how I start my day. And I don't have this energy if I don't move my body every morning. That's my default setting. So what's your default setting? And how can you reprogram? How can you re-energize your life to have more energy? And it seems counterintuitive, like, oh, I'm too tired to work out. No, you get to work out. If you have the means to do it, your body and your energy, you'll have more of it afterwards. Try it. Don't knock it till you try it. All right. So that's number 2, mindful rituals. All right. Make sure you celebrate. Factor in celebration so you can be mindful and sink in the accomplishments, even the small little things that doesn't have to be a best-selling author. It doesn't have to be a book. It doesn't have to be a big promotion. It can mean, hey, I worked out today. I moved my body for 30 minutes and I didn't do that yesterday. I'm celebrating the heck out of that. Or I didn't hit the snooze button. Or I journaled this morning. Or I reached out to a friend and I connected with someone today. Or I reached out and I asked Crystal for help. Or maybe I signed up for her Bombshell Boot Camp. I'm ready for that next level. Celebrate that. Sink that in. That's part of your mindful ritual every single day, no matter what. All right. And then number 3. So this is all about, okay, so my book launch and my commitment. So this is my commitment and my celebration is always tied together. Okay, so when I commit to something, there's a celebration tied to it because a lot of times we need a little carrot at the end of the stick, right? We need to know what we're working towards. We need to know what we're working for, right? The juice has got to be worth the squeeze, if you know what I'm saying, right? So a lot of times, children, right? You're like, oh, we're going to take you for ice cream if you eat your vegetables. I mean, what kid doesn't want ice cream? Right? So they're going to do whatever it takes. Kids, you can learn so much from them. They know exactly what they want and they have fun and they are relentless to achieve what they desire and the prize at the end. Even if it's a sticker. So how can you implement a commitment, a relentless commitment with a celebration at the end. Maybe it's a sticker, maybe it's ice cream. I highly recommend the celebrations, and I had to do some of this work a lot. I used to tie my celebrations to food and alcohol, right? And so now my celebrations look differently, right? So if you're celebrating with food, celebrating with alcohol, I highly recommend trying to find something else that you can have that a different carrot. So I like to take trips, right? So when I first met my husband, I tell this story in the book, The Road to Resilience, about how I met my husband. And I won't give the whole story away. You can go read it. But I met him and he wanted to run a marathon. He's like, and those are music to my ears. He's like, I always wanted to run a marathon. I ran half before. And I'm like, well, I'm running one in 30 days. I'm running one next month. You should sign up. So I trained him in 30 days. But then I told him quickly afterwards, I said, once we commit, we're taking a trip. Like I always take a trip after a marathon, right? Because I train for 3 to 4 months straight, and it's a lot of hard work, and you endure, and it's a short period of time, but it's through the winters, it's through the wind, it's through sleet, it's through snow, it's through tireless mornings, not hitting the snooze button, when I didn't want to, when my legs are tired, when I'm sore, just really committing. So I tied that celebration, and and I'm like, hey, we're going to take a trip. And so we went on our first trip together to Cozumel. And you could read more about that experience in the book, but it is such a beautiful way to know that there's something at the end of the journey that you're on. And so I did a whole lot of nothing on this last trip other than my teaching, right? But I designed it that way on purpose, because for those of you who weren't on the live last Monday, try to go back if you can to catch the replay. If you want to send me a message, I'll get you access to the replay from last week, where I had Marcus Black, my amazing publishing coach, on with me last week as we celebrated the launch and me being a best-selling author. So that was last Monday. So one of the things that we were celebrating was the fact that I was able to design this next week at the end of the launch, because it was a grind for 30 days straight. 30 days. I basically time blocked. I went through so many emotions. I birthed this book in 30 days. Now, I don't recommend that for everyone. I had a big lofty goal because I went to a business conference in Chicago when was it? June, July? I don't remember. It was June timeframe. And I spoke at this business conference for Bill Walsh, and it was amazing. It was the Ultimate Wealth Camp. And on day 2, he was like, you're gonna design your book cover, and you're gonna launch your book. Everyone has a book inside them. And that was the key. That was the ignition that I needed. Right. And so at 2 a.m., I designed the book cover. Where the heck is it? It's right here. So this is the book cover, and I didn't change a thing. This is exactly what I created at 2 a.m. from my hotel room at this business conference. So for those of you who are on Clubhouse, send me a message. I'll get you the link to the book. But it's called The Road to Resilience. It's on Amazon. So it's 5 ways to have courageous confidence in seasons of change. So I designed this book cover. And I had to design my launch day and my launch party, right? So I started with the end in mind, and I'm like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to ask for help. I'm going to put it out there. I designed the book cover already. The back is just as cool, right? And I did it. But I also I knew I was committed, because as soon as I put it out there, I have accountability. I had a mentor. I got coached. People were going to ask me about it. So I was committed, and I was committed to the celebration afterwards. And so I designed this whole trip so that I can just unpack, unwind, be mindful in the reflection, celebrate and honor the hard work that I did. All right. So I want you to just think about the hard things that you have endured in your life this year. Now, this is the first week in September, and for those of you who were in the previous segment with Rachel with Level Up, she was saying that I host vision board workshops. So next week, there's going to be a bonus vision board workshop. Okay, so in the Bombshell Bootcamp. So if you sign up for VIP, I'm gonna throw in an extra workshop, and it's a vision board workshop. So it's a 2-hour experience where we're going to reflect on this year and we're going to finish this year strong. So you have 3 months left. So don't wait till January 1st. We're going to spice up our life right here, right now, this week, this month. Do not wait. Okay, so send me a message. I'd love to get you connected. I want to get you in this. I will give you my system that's been able to for me to go after my wildest dreams and goals. And I write them down and I make them happen. I commit to them. And then, yes, spice up our life. Why not? Better than pumpkin spice lattes. I mean, those are good too. But as we get into the fall weather, unless you live in Puerto Rico, like Annette, like we're getting into the fall and the winter, where we're wearing big sweatshirts and the leggings and the Uggs and the pumpkin spice lattes, and we're hiding in our clothes again. And we don't start to pay attention until March, April, May, or maybe June when it's too late of 2024. So we're going to spice up our life today, this week, this month, and we're going to start now. So we're going to finish this race. We're going to finish 2023 strong. We're not going to wait until it's too late, until we're like, oops, we forgot. Work out even in hurricanes. Yes. She's a no matter what kind of gal. She has her non-negotiables. She has her system where she shows up no matter what, even in a hurricane. She was working on a generator to plug her phone in her complex and found one small little area in her patio that was dry. It was underneath the grill. And she was able to do her workout no matter what. Right? Of course, you want to be safe if you're in a hurricane, but you get to move your body. If you have this part of your system as part of your non-negotiables, as part of your daily rituals, you commit, and then you get to celebrate. So commit, celebrate, have the ritual, commit, celebrate, reflect, rinse, repeat, revive, and thrive your life again. So let's spice up our life. I'm going to yield the mic here. I want to hear from some of you on stage here in Clubhouse and Breakfast with Champions. Answer any questions that you have. We have about a little less than 10 minutes, then I'm going to close this room. Who would like to speak? Hello, Ramon.
Hey, good. What a wonderful segment. I don't get to hear as often as I want, but I'm on a road trip. Coming back home today. So glad I got to hear your amazing segment. So I hope you all sign up for Krystalore's Bombshell Bootcamp. That was amazing. And also glad you got to take some time away and relax. That was great. What I wanted to ask you, Krystalore, something that I heard that you said you have an inclusive, I guess, guys and gals. Just curious why you do that. I noticed that many male coaches, they don't say guy or gal, they just help everyone. I noticed many of our ladies, though, their programs are only for ladies. And then yours is for all, guys and gals. I think that's what that means. Why do you do that? And tell me about that more. Just side note, but I hope that's okay if I ask that. Just curious. What's that trend? Because many ladies just have only, I'm a coach, only for ladies. I'm a health person, only for ladies. I do fashion, only for ladies. I build houses, only for ladies. But you do know everybody. Why is that? Thanks.
Yeah, no, great question. Thank you, Ramon. Thank you for being here. It's so great to see you. And hopefully your travels have been amazing. We definitely need to connect and catch up. But great question. So I spent the last 21 years in the military. So I've been in a man's world my whole life. And basically, I've been the last 21 years in the military. I was in construction. I was a project manager for 3 construction companies. I was in computer engineering, which is a mostly male-dominated field as well. I was in banking, which was mostly male-dominated. So you name it, I've been around men my whole adult life, right? And so as a coach and as a mentor, there's been a lot of men that have reached out to me and want to and need support. And so as a leadership consultant, as a coach, right, I know that our emotions are universal. Self-doubt is universal. right? But some of us are more apt to reach out for help, or maybe be a part of a group than others. So I will say that I do work with some men. It's not as popular as I'd like to see it, to be honest. I'd love to see more male coaches out there. I'd love to see more men in my group, to be honest. So the Health is Wealth community is inclusive of males and females, and I pour into them. So the Bombshell Bootcamp, although it says bombshell, like, it's a mindset, right? It's a confident mindset. It's a being. It's a presence. So don't. Yes, the marketing towards it can maybe attract more of a feminine energy, but the curriculum is universal to everyone, right? And so, to answer your question, Ramon, I love helping men. I love helping them because it helps their relationship, not only with themselves, but it helps them be a better spouse, a better father, a better mentor, a better entrepreneur, right? And so, I would love to see more men in the group. So shout out to y'all men out there, like, reach out. And we're not that scary. And it can be a very vulnerable space, right? And so I think many times the ego can get in the way, right? We're like, oh, we don't want to seem weak, or we don't want to seem like we don't have it all together, right? Guess what? No one has it all together. We're all just trying to navigate this difficult thing called life, right? And so I totally understand that. And so I love to help. I love to help women. I love to help men. My husband also is a personal trainer, and he's an entrepreneur as well. So we do have a men's shred program. So it's a 30-day men's shred program. So on the fitness side, that is an option that we do have in the Crispy Unlimits world. So shout out to those guys out there. If you really want to light a fire, let me know. Yes, I think it's important, Ramon, to niche down and know who your client is so you can speak directly to them. But when you're talking about mindset, when you're talking about relationships, it's like I said, it's universal. I was around men and women in my class all week. I taught men were like, oh, I never did a group workout before, and I loved it. And I taught it was kickboxing. There's 30-minute high intensity interval training and kickboxing. So I have a little spice to my workouts and to the work that I do, where I flip from military. I can be like in your face, military, masculine, but I can also have fun and be in the feminine energy, right? So I have a very cool mix, I feel, where I can tap into each piece of me. And I think each one of us has all of these parts of us, and it's a paradigm. Like, we have so many different areas of our life that, we need to tap into different areas of our being. And so sometimes we need that love and support, and that just the grace. And then sometimes we need the grit and the grind, right? So I think it's having a great mix and understanding what you need in the moments, and being able to find the right people in your path and the right people to ask for help, I think is so powerful. So male, woman, like, if you speak to your mentor, or if you're hearing these words and you're connecting, then I'm your person, right? If I'm triggering you in a certain way, and you're feeling a certain way, there's probably a reason, and let's have a conversation, right? And so let's see what's coming up. And if you're annoyed by my voice, then I'm probably not your person, and that's okay, right? So I think, just in closing of these comments, Ramon, is, find the people, whether it's male or female, find the person that is for you, that is going to connect, that has walked the walk, that can talk the talk, that can guide you. And, it might be a male. I'll tell you, some of my best mentors are male. They're not women. But I love having women in the community, right? So, and I love pouring into other women. Your network is gender neutral. Thank you. Thank you, Melody. Shout out to Melody. She's coming to the retreat. Can't wait to see you. So,
Krystalore, do you have time for a follow-up question?
I do. Yes.
Okay, and I think the room does have to end about 55 to the hour, I think, or
Yep.
I think that's still the case. But just one more question. Going back to vision boarding, can you talk about that a bit more, vision boarding? And one challenge that I have in my life, Krystalore, is I'm an idea generator, but I'm terrible at follow through, terrible at it. And just curious, again, we only have like 5 minutes to say, but what does that mean to you when you hear that? Do you need more information and or going back to vision boarding? David Hill talked about it. You talked about you did like 75 marathons. I'm like, ooh, if I did the first one, I'd be like, check, did the marathon, done, no more. But either vision boarding or follow through, is there a relation? Anything you have for me? I don't even know what I'm asking, but I figured you sure got something smart to reply back to. Thanks.
Yes, absolutely. Great question. So, so the way that my system works is the 8 pillars of our life, right? So we can have a lot of ideas and just to your point, Ramon, there's a lot of people, especially entrepreneurs. We're big visionary, right? We have these great, huge goals and aspirations, but when it comes time for execution and that consistent daily ritual, that's when it gets hard. And that's when we start to get in our head. So having a great executor and an implementer in your life, on your team, is important. So that's my first tip. So find someone. So I have someone on my team. Her name is Tammy. She is the productive entrepreneur and she is my executor. So she takes my wildest dreams and goals and she said, okay, what is doable for you right now in this month, in this year, in this quarter? How can we backwards plan and how can I hold you accountable? Right. So she is like the master. She's like my right hand. And so she's the master of my strategy and she helps me execute and implement. So I highly recommend if you are a creative and you don't have the organization and you don't map this out and have a way to implement and execute, highly recommend contact me or hire a coach and find someone that can help you implement, because otherwise we're going to start to beat ourselves up and get in our own head and self-doubt and spin our wheels and wonder why we aren't as far along. So that's number one. So the number 2 is really the organization and the map of it and sinking in the emotion. So I'm an emotional intelligence coach. So I study the brain. I study the how the brain works and sinking in to the emotion of the accomplishment and how that feels. And that's kind of been some of my secret sauce. I don't want to give away all of my secret sauce of the vision board workshop, but that is one of the main things that makes it different, is I make you feel the emotion and sit in it. And because sometimes we're like, oh, I want to write this book, or I want to get this next certification, or I want to get this next degree. And if the emotion isn't tied to it, it just keeps adding to our plate. And then it's like, is this a priority anymore? So sometimes we have to reflect and say, okay, how do we feel about this? And maybe we kick the can to the next year, right? And maybe we're not so tied to a timeline. So I think being intentional with the emotion and the feeling, and being able to pivot and reprioritize and maybe loosen your timelines a little bit, or tighten them if you need to. So being willing to pivot and having someone there to walk you through it, I think, is very powerful. Does that answer your question, Ramon?
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
You are welcome. Great questions. I love it. Anybody else here on stage care to share any comments or reflections?
Hey, Krystalore, this is Jessica.
Hello, beautiful.
I know we're closing the room soon, but just want to, of course, continue to celebrate with you and the book launch. I'll connect more with you offline, but one thing I wanted to point to was the way you incorporate celebrating with planning your goals or commitments. I mean, because we can commit to like personal things and professional things. And it brought me back to leading up to a recent surgery I had, and kind of intuitively was like listening to different playlists and stuff that just felt more like more of a celebration, I guess. So when you framed it and put language to it that way, it makes total sense, because I had committed to do a thing. In this case, it was a surgery. And when we commit, we don't always know the outcome, like in the races or whatever. I mean, I know your goal probably isn't to like win them all, but you know, that could be or it could be a good byproduct. But just committing in general, regardless of what the outcome is, it did something. I don't have all the language for it, but it does something like internally when you factor that in, even when you haven't achieved the goal yet, to kind of step into already having done it in a way. And then it makes the celebration even sweeter when you do achieve it. So would love to check your new book out. I'm so proud of you, and we'll connect more offline. I've heard someone else on mics. I think, so I wanted to give them a chance as well.
Thank you so much, Jessica. Oh my gosh. And I'm celebrating you. And even if I hope everything went okay with your surgery as well. So you're in my prayers. But even if it is a dance party, like putting on music and just moving, if you can, right? Move your body and putting on your favorite song. It can be as simple as that, right? And so I love that you shared that. Thank you so much, Jessica. Who else would like to share?
Hey, it's Shantae, really quick, so I know we gotta close.
Yeah.
Good
Time flies when we're having fun, right?
Yeah, seriously. So I just wanted to say, like, I'm so happy that you brought up basically scripting your setbacks when you brought up the lady with the hurricane. And I thought about what I had to go through recently with preparing for the hurricane that was coming through here. And I realized I'm so happy that I script my setbacks, because I have literally chair routines. So I was like, if the gym's closed, which of course when a hurricane's coming it is, or if I have limited space, I'm going to do some stuff in the chair if I have to. So thank you so much for bringing that up and for reminding us to celebrate. I get more sleep now, and I'm just so happy that I've been intentional, and that's been a big win for me. Thank you.
Oh, I love it. Script your setbacks. Yeah. I mean, it seems kind of negative to do it, but you know that you're going to have obstacles, right? So if you plan for it, then you know how you're going to be able to pivot, right? So when the gyms shut down during COVID, I was able to teach something online. I had a friend that called me. She said, you teach all these boot camps. Can you teach something online? So I figured it out, right? I was able to pivot, right? Because I had the tools, right? And so the biggest question to script your setbacks is, and even when you're not prepared, the first question is, what can I do right now with what I've got? So that has been the most powerful question. What can I do right now with what I've got? And then take that massive action. The great reflection. Thank you so much. Jessica, did you have something else? I see you're unmuted.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know I was.
No, that's okay. Thank you.
Well, I mean, one last thing, final, as we're closing the conversation, I keep thinking about the universal aspect you brought up and how powerful that is. Because even in the disability, accessibility, inclusion space, that is what unites and everyone can relate to. It's about what unites us, not separate us. So I love that, how you built that into your program and how your philosophy is, but also in a really practical way. I loved the way you described that to Ramon. And it's a perspective we can think about just as humans, what unites us.
Yes, we are definitely more alike than we are different. And so we're not meant to do this alone. This life alone is difficult, and we're all just trying to navigate it. And everyone is going and growing through something. So be kind. Go make someone smile today. Thank you all for chiming in. I do have to close the room, so we make sure that we get the amazing replays. So go over to bwcdaily.com and you can catch all of the articles and the replays. Send me a message. Definitely. I can't wait to see you in the Bombshell Bootcamp next week. And if you need support, reach out, ask for help, get coached, get mentored, make it a great day. Happy Monday, everyone. Cheers. Cruise Beyond Limits.
Have a great day.
Thank you. You too. Woo.
Thank you.